As the Akan adage goes, Obinim Obrimpong Ashasi. Indeed, no one knows the beginning of a hero or a heroine, but are only celebrated at their peak. However, every great person or business has some story of a sort about the dark days of their lives, the lonely moments, the hunger and thirst, with no one to turn to or lean on. Yet, these stories are not just told to anyone, but at the right place and time. On this show, The Untold, we will be unveiling some of these stories of very well celebrated and upcoming individuals and businesses with emphasis on entrepreneurship. Join me this and every Saturday on Ashaiman TV as I bring you The Untold. My name is Nathaniel Ola. Hello viewers, you're welcome to The Untold right here on Ashaiman TV with me, Nathaniel Ola Kutete. And as you know, every Saturday at 6 p.m. I bring you special guests to discuss issues pertaining to entrepreneurship and business in general. And today is just as any other Saturday, and I bring you a very special guest to share with us the story of a multinational company, Learning Time. And I'll be introducing my guest very soon. And I bet you today is fully packed. You don't want to even blink your eye, and you can join this conversation on WhatsApp via 0209151701, 0209151701, and as well we are streaming live, as you know it, on Ashaiman TV GH on Facebook, and you can share to your friends and family and loved ones to watch as well, and leave your comment on our wall and we'll take it as such. And so, like I said, this is The Untold right here on Ashaiman TV. As the Akan adage goes, Obinim Obrimpong Ashasi. Indeed, no one knows the beginning of a hero or a heroine, but are only celebrated at their peak. However, every great person or business has some story of a sort about the dark days of their lives, the lonely moments, the hunger and thirst, with no one to turn to or lean on. Yet, these stories are not just told to anyone, but at the right place and time. On this show, The Untold, we will be unveiling some of these stories of very well celebrated and upcoming individuals and businesses with emphasis on entrepreneurship. Join me this and every Saturday on Ashaiman TV as I bring you The Untold. My name is Nathaniel Ola. And my guest is no other person than Madam Ketaki Shankah, otherwise known as Mama G. Mama G, you're welcome.
Hello, thank you so much.
Great. So, how is Ghana so far? You've been to Ghana on several occasions, but on this very occasion, how are you experiencing Ghana? Because you have moved a bit out of your comfort zone.
Not really, because Ghana is my second home, you can say.
Okay.
So I have been coming here since last 5 years.
Right.
And I love Ghana and I love the Ghanaian people. So yes,
So
it's always a pleasure to be here.
Great, you're always welcome. Who is Ketaki Shankah? Otherwise, Mama G. I prefer saying Mama G, but my guests want to know your real name. So, right.
So basically, I am a regional manager in Learning Time.
Okay.
And I actually handle Dubai, which is a part of UAE. And I handle Africa as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how long have you been doing this?
Quite a long time. It's been 26 years that I have been in this field, yes.
Okay.
Children's education.
So now tell us your background, especially with regards to education, because if you've been doing education, children's education for the past 26 years. Is this something that you were trained in, that you had to pursue a career in, or it just came to you?
I would say it came to me.
Okay.
Because this was a long time back, like I said, 26 years, and times were different. So I was looking out for an opportunity to make some money.
Okay.
And I had a very small child. My child was not even 2 at that time. So I was very keen to look out for a career which would help me just earn some money.
Okay.
So I happened to see this advert in the newspapers in those times, and I thought this was good because it had to do with books, and plus it had flexible times.
Right.
And I was very clear that I didn't want to do a 9 to 5 job because that would keep me away from my son for very long hours.
Okay.
And I would miss out on his childhood as well. Something I was not ready to compromise on. So this actually came to me, and yeah, I just approached the office.
Wow. So upon approaching the office, how were you received? Because on many occasions, young job seekers go with high hopes, and sometimes, I mean, the magic happens, other times they get bounced. In your case, how did it happen?
So basically, when I approached the office, I actually happened to live in a far suburb of Bombay, as you probably might be knowing it as a big city. And I used to stay in the far suburbs, so that would take me 2 hours to just reach the office, and that too by a train.
Okay.
So, so when I went there, I was not too well received because they were very skeptical about the parents living in the suburbs and will they be open to something like this, and basically they thought it might not work.
Okay.
So they were good to me, but they were not very positive.
Okay.
But I still insisted that I wanted to know more about it.
Right.
And I was just trained for 3 hours across the table, and then I was left to work this whole thing out.
So were you trained for 3 hours and left to on your own because they didn't have hopes in you, or that was the norm?
Well, they thought it's too far for them to really come out, all over the distance and help me, and I guess they had their reasons.
Right.
And yes, I was kind of left to figure out as to how best I can really do, how best I can really work this whole thing out. So yes, it was a bit of a challenge initially.
That's quite interesting. So viewers, if you are just joining us, this is The Untold right here on Ashaiman TV, and with me in the studio is Ketaki Shankah, aka Mama G, from Learning Time. She happens to be the regional manager for Dubai and Africa, and she's sharing with us her early career stories. And so again, how did you chance on this company, and why did a young mother, now upon all the opportunities available in Mumbai, decide to go for a part-time job that in the first place was not welcome?
Like I said, my son was young, and I wanted to do something which would give me the flexibility of time, because I was very keen that I need to be there when he needs me. At the same time, I needed the money very badly. So this happened to really fall in place at that time, and since it was to do with reading and books, I'm very passionate about reading, and I believe in the habit of reading as well. So it just came naturally to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now tell us, apart from the challenge of you not being so welcomed on your arrival at the office, you needed a job, they also needed employees, yet they were having their doubts. And then you were given this opportunity, given a 3-hour training, and left on your own.
Yeah.
That is a challenge that should demotivate someone. But truth be told, you were not demotivated. Now, what are some of the other challenges that you faced, apart from the very first one and then on the first?
Yes, so the first challenge was the names of parents, because I had just moved to this area, which, like I said, was far from the city.
Yeah.
And I really didn't know anybody there. So I just happened to approach a nursery school, and I just, approached the principal, and I asked her for some names of parents. And she was a very kind soul, and she gave me a list of parents. So my first challenge was kind of handled.
Okay.
But the second most important one is, like, we work on appointments, so we just make sure that the parents are ready to receive us. And my first challenge was that I didn't have a phone in the house. I didn't even have a landline.
Okay.
and I had to go to this public phone booths,
Okay.
which was about 15 to 20 minutes walk from my place, and I had to stand in the queue and wait for my turn to start taking appointments.
Okay.
By which time there would be a line behind me.
I was just coming to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was a lot of pressure to kind of just finish the calls.
Yeah.
Yes.
So in that case, what this is just on a lighter note. What were some of the comments you remember from others who were waiting for you to just leave the phone?
Oh, you really don't want me to say that. Not on the TV.
Yeah, that's just on a lighter note. So now, I can imagine, because as a salesperson myself in various areas for some time now, I know how booking appointments can be difficult. So this is a young salesperson who is calling via public phone booth to book appointments, and sometimes you don't get these appointments through. How did you feel if you had to stand and enjoy or endure all the unpleasant words from onlookers and you still don't get an appointment through? How did you feel? And what motivated you to keep going every day?
Yeah, it was very frustrating, to be honest. It wasn't easy because you kind of feel very helpless in such situations. And but what kept me going was that I knew that I had to generate a second income.
Okay.
It was very essential at that time.
Okay.
And I did feel demotivated a few times, and I did think of giving up, and this won't work. But I kept looking at what was the positive about this whole thing, that once if I get this on track, then life will be sorted. So that thought and that positivity, that it's just about finding the right, working of this whole thing, and once I achieve that, then things will get smoother. So that was what, that thought kept me going.
So how long were you battling with these thoughts until you were able to chalk your first success?
Yeah, it was a long time because I joined in the first week of January in 1994.
Okay.
That is precisely 9th of January. And I started making appointments, calling up people and visiting their homes. I didn't have enough money to use a public transport, so I used to have to walk to these people's homes, which would be anywhere from half an hour to 45 minutes from my house, carrying a very heavy bag. And so I started doing all of that. And the whole of January passed with no order, though I used to work regularly every day.
Okay.
And so January passed by, and then February came and I was still struggling. So February got over, and then it was March, no order. So the whole of March almost passed by, and I happened to get my first order on the 27th of March.
Wow.
Which was just in my building. So that was probably one of the best, feeling of my life when I cracked that first deal, That was memorable, yeah.
So after that, I am sure that the feeling now changed. You had hopes that you were going to chalk some more success. But then, did you still were you still confronted with some challenges that still you had doubts whether this was going to work, even after having your first order? Or you were just certain that once I was able to have my first order as a salesperson, it is a done deal?
Well, all I knew was that, yes, this works.
Okay.
So if it can work once, it's most likely to work again. So that was the thought predominant on my mind. And at the same time, we had incentive announced for a family holiday if we achieved a target right at that time. And I was very excited about this because I thought I could give a holiday to my family with something that I've earned.
Okay.
And that really motivated me a lot.
Okay.
And I went all out for it. And I happened to win that. So I could actually give a holiday free of cost to my family. And that was probably the first time that we had gone out as a family. So I think that really made me take off.
So I was just a little bit concerned about your son, whose birthday happens to be today.
Yes, he's a leap year child.
Okay.
He's born on 29th Feb, yes.
Okay. So I was just concerned about him at the time. So you had this young child. The purpose for which you took a part-time job was to have time for this child,
Yeah.
and then you were also supposed to trek about Havana in order to place a call or even attend or get to parents to show them this product or program that you had. So all this while, where was your son?
So I had put him in a daycare for a few hours, and because that was something that I had to do, but I could spend the better part of the day with him, because I used to work mostly in the evenings when my husband would be back from work.
Okay.
So that also helped a lot, yeah.
Okay. Great. So that is quite informing for our viewers to know that life never comes easy, because somebody might have heard the introduction, regional manager for Africa or Dubai and Africa, and feels that, hey, she's really enjoying life. So it's just appropriate that we go back to some 26 years ago, how it all began. And so now we want to know, it means that you have been doing sales for the past 26 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before we come back to the business of learning time, I just want to know, what was your educational background? Was it anywhere related to sales or marketing?
Not at all, because I had just done my bachelor's in commerce,
Okay.
and when I was 19 I got engaged. By the time I was 20 I was married.
Okay.
So yeah, that was all the education that I had.
Interesting. Okay, so this question was just for a purpose that most of our viewers may be thinking that I have my educational background probably is in accounting, and so strictly I have to look for an accounting job in order to make it in life. But that is quite informing that you have to even leave comments and go to sales, and that has brought you how far you've gotten today. Now I want us to now come back to the company you joined in 1996.
1994.
1994. Thank you. So that is 26 long years ago. What were you doing? I mean, we've been talking about you meeting parents, but we've not really spoken about what actually the product or the program you were marketing is. So can you a bit inform us or educate us on that?
So we were into children's home learning products even at that time.
Okay.
And the job required meeting parents of young kids
Mm.
and making them aware of the need of early learning, and kind of having a good ideal home environment at home
Okay.
for children, and how these products can help them make the most of the early years of children.
Mm.
So it was all about making presentations to family.
Okay. And how are these parents accepting you, a young salesperson, not driving, you're walking
Yeah.
miles or meters or kilometers in order to meet them? How were they in the first place welcoming you into their homes?
Our parents generally were quite good. They were quite welcoming as well, because as a parent, probably we know that when it comes to our children, we are curious to know how is something going to help my child become better. So they were pretty welcoming, there is no doubt about that. But the awareness was not there in parents as much, so they didn't realize that it was important for children to have anything at home to do. And times were different at that time. We didn't have the onslaught of technology, sweeping in our lives. So they were pretty laid back and quite complacent about everything going okay with the child. We really don't need to do much. Kind of thing. So, yeah.
Interesting. So viewers, if you're just joining us or you've been watching and you are wondering what it is, this is the Untold right here on Ashaiman TV, and with me in the studio is Madam Ketaki Shankah, the regional manager for Learning Time, and she is in charge of Dubai and Africa, and she's really sharing some interesting stories with us. So this really is
telling me something that it took you 26 long years to get to where you are. But this is just a bit of diversion. We'll come back to the main conversation. But now we see a whole lot of get rich quick schemes all around, and that is what the youth are embracing. Now, what is your view on some of these get rich quick schemes? We'll come back to the substantive issue though, but that is just I don't want to forget some important issues like these because we are dealing mostly with the youth.
Yeah, the get rich quick sounds very good, and probably it may work for a short period of time.
Okay.
But I think if you're looking at sustained success, and if you're looking at something you're building up, it doesn't come easy.
Okay.
So nothing worthwhile actually comes easy.
Okay.
So as much as quick fixes are very alluring and very tempting, but I think nothing replaces hard work.
Right, thank you. So learning time has been in Ghana for some time now, but it still sounds new to a lot of people. And it is good that we're having this conversation. So when we talk of learning time, who or what is learning time?
So learning time has been, around since more than 22 years now.
Okay.
And basically it was, it began in 1996 in the Middle East.
Right.
Okay, so it was known as Motivate Marketing at that time, and we were, into sales even at that time. But I was working with the Indian distributors at that time.
Okay.
So the parent company was the same. So 1996 is when it started in Oman, in Muscat, and then we evolved. And by the time, in 2010, is when there was this publishing which was developed, which is known as Learning Time. So we got into our own publications.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So what does learning time do? I mean, for the past since 2010, when you started developing your own product, what has this product been doing? What are these products used for?
So these products are basically, for young parents. And as we are now well aware that from the time the child is born till he joins kindergarten, those years, the first few years, are very critical years for the child. So that's not only when they learn the basic skills, but they also learn a lot of social and emotional skills. They're trying to understand the world around them. They're trying to interpret the world around them. And that is the time when their grasping absorption is the highest. So learning time helps parents help make the most of the early years of children and basically give them the right exposure to develop three key areas in a child's mind and learning, which is to do with developing their awareness, their ability, and their attitude.
So this program that is designed to develop the child entirely in three areas, like you mentioned: awareness, ability, and attitude.
Yes.
Some parents may have these in mind because on set I speak for my viewers, and some of the questions that will bother a parent's mind is that aren't schools and religious organizations doing this, and then cultural values, developing the child in the areas of awareness, ability, and attitude. Why do we need an extra program like A+ from Learning Time?
Well, yes, a good question. Basically, like I mentioned, that the first years, the first 4 to 6 years are very important because that's when the maximum mental development happens in a child. And that's the time the child is spending maximum time at home. Right? So the formal schooling starts from 4 and 5 years above. And so that's one of the reasons why home learning tools are important.
Okay.
And schools definitely play a big role in shaping up the child's knowledge. But the skills of learning, like observation or creativity or imagination, these are secondary skills,
Okay.
which basically need to be developed because every child is born with primary skills. Every
Okay.
child can see, every child can hear, every child can talk. But the secondary skills like observation, creativity, imagination, all these need to be developed. And that home is a good place to do that. So the way the parents can help a child, I don't think any other teacher can help a child because she's addressing like 30 to 40 children at the same time. It's difficult for her to understand the needs of each and every child, because every child's pace of learning is also different. And I would say that school and home are two sides of the same coin.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in that case, we know that most parents today, in a setting like Accra where we find ourselves, most parents are busy. They leave home say 4 a.m., 5 a.m. and they return after 7, 8 when the kids are already asleep. So how can they effectively give tuition to the child? Because some parents will argue that that is why I pay the school and I expect that they develop the child. Why should that be my responsibility again if I had to invest again in another program to develop the child? Because I've already done that because I need my time to make more money. Why is it necessary for parents to get these facts for the children?
Yes, so basically it's all about priorities that
Okay.
we as young parents, we do need two incomes, and yes, money is an important area of our life as well.
Mm.
But as parents, we also need to understand that these years are not going to come back again.
Okay.
And it's very important to develop a good bond, the emotional bond between the parent and the child,
Okay.
because the parents are the entire universe of the child.
Mm.
So if they are not really there for them, as in not in terms of quantity of time probably, because they are out better part of the day, but once they are back home, if they can spend about 15 to 20 minutes of quality time with the child, then that helps a lot in the bonding and in the mental connect with the child. So I think that what we focus on more is the quality time, and this program requires nothing more than 15 minutes a day with the child, and I think that's quite reasonable.
Alright, so viewers, if you're watching us, this is Untold right here on Ashaiman TV with me, Nathaniel Owula Kutete, and I want to announce the WhatsApp line so that you can send in your messages for our guests to respond to them. So you can join us on 0209151701, 0209151701, and as well you can leave your messages on our Facebook walls and we will read them as such. Okay, so awesome conversation, and I'm sure that by now some parents watching us are really thinking through how to make 15 minutes to 20 minutes a day for their children, because I've dealt with a lot of parents on different levels, and I've seen that we are always busy all over the place. Is either you're attending you're from work Monday to Friday, you're either doing extra hours at work on Saturday or Sunday,
Yeah.
you're either attending a wedding, you're either attending a funeral, and so we're really a busy family here in the city, chasing after the wind, if I'm permitted to say that. So that is quite impressive. Now, how are these programs developed such that they are able to meet these needs of these children, as we've rightly mentioned? So the program, we've spent time mentioning the benefit, but what makes these programs exceptional that a parent or a household needs it than just putting a child in school and picking them up after school and having some 15-minute conversation as they drive home?
Right. So basically our program now develops the best in publishing, and it combines the best in publishing and digital media.
Okay.
So the parent gets absolutely the best for their child. The program is designed for busy parents, to be honest,
Okay.
because we do understand that a parent is handling a lot of juggling between a lot of things and managing their time, trying to do justice to everything.
Okay.
So the program is designed for busy parents because this program actually makes a child a self-learner.
Okay.
It makes a child an independent learner, because the device that we have got is something which talks and sings to the child. So actually the parent really doesn't need to be around, because the child can handle this himself or herself, even if he doesn't know how to read.
Okay, so we have a few messages here on Facebook. I would quickly want to go through, and this one says that how can one share this video? So just click on share and you can share this video. And this is that good evening, I am watching live at Abekala Pass. I'm not sure you know how to color fast.
Really? I'm sorry.
That's just by the way. And this says that I'm watching live from Israel. And then there is a tab under video. Okay, so someone is helping the one who is asking how to share with how to share. Okay, so please keep your comments coming and we will read them as such. And then if there are questions regarding our conversation, either from her motivations, her earlier life as a salesperson, or her role as a regional manager for Dubai and Africa at Learning Time, whatever questions you have, and then the benefit of the program, we would read them out and have our guests address them as such.
As the Akan adage goes, Obinim Obrimpong Ashasi. Indeed, no one knows the beginning of a hero or a heroine, but are only celebrated at their peak. However, every great person or business has some story of a sort about the dark days of their lives, the lonely moments, the hunger and thirst, with no one to turn to or lean on. Yet, these stories are not just told to anyone, but at the right place and time. On this show, The Untold, we will be unveiling some of these stories of very well celebrated and upcoming individuals and businesses with emphasis on entrepreneurship. Join me this and every Saturday on Ashaiman TV as I bring you The Untold. My name is Nathaniel Oulaputete.
Lucy and Wiz and a little bird, her name is Ziggy. Searching the world to find her home, they meet new friends.
Learning Time presents Time for English with Lucy, Wiz, and Ziggy, an interactive multimedia English learning program for today's kids.
So you want to learn a little about colors? Come on, let's start. We have colors bright and bold. We have colors for the young and old. Colors make the world a happy place. Colors put a smile upon your face.
Time for English comprises an integrated series of animated videos, books, and apps designed to engage, entertain, and teach English.
So I have this message also on WhatsApp, and this is that. Okay, so this is just saying hello to us, and it says that hello, Ketaki and the presenter. Hi, my name is Nathaniel, and it says that how do you crack the tiredness of closing your first order after a couple of months? And this is from Priya.
Yeah, I think I was elated and I forgot all about the first 3 months when I got my first order. So it's like delivering a baby, you forget the 9 months of the trouble that you have been through.
Okay.
And once you see the baby, you forget everything. So I think it's something similar.
Right. Interesting. So keep your messages coming on WhatsApp at 0209151701, 0209151701, and then as well you can leave them on Facebook and we will read them as such. I'm sure there are more messages coming and we'll get back to them soon. So now I want us to look at are you going to demonstrate some of these, or show us some of these programs and how they work? And because now that we've come into taking the messages, I'm sure that some people will be asking, what is this long talk for?
What's
Can we
this all
share
about,
something
right?
to see? We want to know, because this that the sweetness of the pudding isn't eaten.
Oh yes,
So
for
at
sure.
this point, they would want to have a feel of what the pudding really is. So if there is anything you want to show us, we'll be glad to see.
Okay, sure. So yes, like I mentioned earlier, the program focuses on 3 key areas of a child's mental development, which is awareness, ability and attitude. Now awareness basically is covered by Time to Learn, which is a program which is in a question answer format. So children do ask a lot of questions, don't they?
They do.
They do, right?
Yeah.
So parents normally respond in a very abrupt way sometimes. Sometimes they do try their best to answer them, but it's difficult for them to go down to their level of understanding and
True.
really take the time out and explain to the child. And most of these questions go unanswered.
True.
Right? So the awareness part focuses on addressing these children's questions, because every question is a mental hunger. So, so how do we satisfy the child's curiosity? So just to kind of give you an idea, can I ask you a couple of questions?
I'm glad to answer.
Okay, so let me make this a bit interesting for
Okay.
you. Okay. So, do you think there's a bird which flies backwards?
None that I can even imagine. There is.
Any idea? No idea?
Not really.
Alright. But does it make you curious?
It does, because I'm just trying to look around if I had ever seen any bird flying backwards.
Right?
I don't want to conclude that there isn't, but it makes me really curious. I wish you could satisfy that curiosity now.
Okay, so the books go like this, where, like I said, it's in a question answer format.
Okay.
So it doesn't say, is there a bird which flies backwards?
Mm.
It says, which bird flies backwards?
Okay.
And questions are a natural way of a child talking,
Mm.
because everything starts with a why, what, when, how,
Mm.
as far as the child is concerned.
Right.
So they adapt to this very easily, because questions are something which is a very natural way of a child talking. So this is how it talks about that it's actually the
Mm.
hummingbird
Okay.
which flies backwards.
Wow.
So the child sees the picture of the hummingbird,
Mm-hmm.
and if the child is young, a picture is good enough. But as he's growing, he may want to know, how does this bird fly backwards?
Okay.
Right? So that's the second step.
Mm.
So basically, to tell you that these books are very progressive. So it doesn't just tell the child, the information keeps progressing as the child keeps growing.
Okay.
So the books actually grow with the child.
Mm.
Alright? So the way it goes is, it talks about that while most birds flap their wings up and down, the hummingbirds move their wings in a circular figure 8 motion,
Okay.
making them the only birds that fly backwards. So it's the way they move their wings.
Right.
So hummingbirds move in a circular figure 8 motion. Yeah.
Right.
And it also says that hummingbirds can fly upside down for a short distance. Okay, so it's very brief, it is very simple for the child to understand. And as the child is growing, the child may want to know which is the smallest bird.
Okay.
What do you think, Nathaniel? Which is the smallest bird?
I don't want to try.
Please do. Just a guess.
I'm on live TV,
Yes.
and I don't want that to be my nickname after I give the right answer.
Alright.
Yeah, so I don't want to try.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's basically the bee hummingbird,
Okay.
and it's as small as a bee, but it can beat its wings almost 80 times in a second.
Okay.
So how likely is the child wanting to know which is the smallest bird?
Mm.
It might come to his mind, right? And then from here it goes to the largest bird,
Okay.
which is the ostrich.
Mm.
So not only is ostrich the largest bird, not only does it have the largest eye among all birds,
Mm.
but it also lays the largest egg, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So a largest
Yeah.
bird would lay
The largest.
the largest egg. So how big do you think is an ostrich egg?
Probably like a football.
Okay.
So is that clear?
Okay. So,
Hello, I'm LT.
so we are talking now about how to make the child an independent learner.
Okay.
So this is the LT pen. Now, the question was,
My name is LT.
how big is the ostrich egg?
Right.
Okay. So here we have information for the child.
One ostrich egg is as big as 24 chickens' eggs.
I hope great.
Yeah, 24 chickens' eggs.
Right.
So do you think it's easy for a child to understand that?
Yeah, yes. That's
Yeah.
right.
So these are basically embedded sound files.
Mm.
So the child can just touch the LT pen and it actually reads to the child.
Okay.
So it gives additional information. Not only that, but even the text is read out to the child in case the child doesn't know how to read.
Okay.
But a child definitely knows how to listen.
Okay.
So,
While most birds flap their wings up and down, hummingbirds move their wings in a circular figure 8 motion, making them the only bird
So at this point, there was a question earlier, and before I go to that question, so as this program you're showing to us, what age group or what category of children is this designed for?
So basically, the earlier you start, the better. So we basically meet parents of children between 0 and 6 years of age.
Okay.
All right, because that's the time though the child development is the fastest, and they are like sponges at that time. So everything that is around them, they'll start absorbing.
Okay.
So they only end up speaking what they have heard.
Okay.
Right? So instead of the child being on the screen all the time, on the TV, because there's nothing else for the child to do at home.
Okay.
There are no other options apart from the TV. So they end up watching cartoons and just the nursery rhymes. But here what happens is, because it's in pictures, 80% of it is in pictures.
Yeah.
So then even a very young child can read a picture.
True.
Right? So that's how they learn A for apple and B for
Yeah.
ball. So it's all in pictures. So basically, the earlier you start showing the pictures to the child, the absorption is there, and once they start speaking, they speak about what they have heard.
Okay.
Okay.
So I see this device to be a very delicate device. So how durable is this design such that, because we are talking about children, and children are curious in this case, they may
Sure.
want to crack this open to see what is making this device talk. So how durable is this device to ensure that a child doesn't just crack this open to see
Yeah,
what is
absolutely.
talking?
So we have made this keeping the child in mind, because this is for the child to use on its own. So if you see, there is no way the child can open this
Okay.
pen, right? So there is no way he can open it.
Right.
Okay. The pen is rechargeable, so it doesn't even need to install the battery or anything. So there is no way of opening even that part of the pen.
Right.
And plus, this comes with a warranty for 1 year. But so far, probably less than 1%. There has been a problem, and that too in the software. The hardware, though it looks very dainty and delicate, but it's extremely sturdy, because we can't afford to give anything substandard to the parent, because we have to replace it.
Right.
So we generally never get complaints about this, and we have made sure that it is that way. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense.
Okay, so what if it comes into contact with water? And then I will be taking some of the questions here. If this device comes into contact with water, is it likely to get damaged?
If it remains submerged in the water for some time,
Okay.
the water might get in and just distort the sound files inside.
Okay.
But the sound files can be replaced,
Okay.
so it can be reinstalled.
Goodbye.
So it shouldn't be a
See you
problem.
soon.
The switch is off by itself within a couple of minutes to conserve the battery here. The power. Yeah.
That's quite interesting. So viewers, if you're watching us wherever, from your home or the comfort of everywhere you find yourself, this is the Untold, and with me in the studio is Ketaki Shankah, the regional manager for Learning Time, and she represents Dubai and Africa.
As the Akan adage goes, Obinim Obrimpong Ashasi. Indeed, no one knows the beginning of a hero or a heroine, but are only celebrated at their peak. However, every great person or business has some story of a sort about the dark days of their lives, the lonely moments, the hunger and thirst, with no one to turn to or lean on. Yet, these stories are not just told to anyone, but at the right place and time. On this show, The Untold, we will be unveiling some of these stories of very well celebrated and upcoming individuals and businesses with emphasis on entrepreneurship. Join me this and every Saturday on Ashaiman TV as I bring you The Untold. My name is Nathaniel Oulakutetu.
My name is Faith Brenya from Ghana, and Princess is 2 years old. Nana Kwame is just 3 months old. I bought Learning Time program in July 2016. Yeah. I love the ability section. With the ability section, the language and the maths. I love the language, the Discover English with Ben and Bella more because the use of the flashcards. I use it a lot with my daughter, and at the time we bought it, she wasn't even 2 years then, but then she's a curious girl. So when I started using the card with her, you could see that some of the flashcards that have the question and answer or the picture and the name of whatever it is behind, she becomes so curious when I mention the name and show her the picture. She loved it, and I saw it made her curious. She wants to know. She sees tomatoes, she will call it. She sees anything round, she calls it tomatoes. So I realized it helped her to. She just wants to identify with everything around, just because I always show her pictures and mention the name. So for me, it was a lot of fun for me when I do it with her. So I really love the Ben and Bella section because of the flashcards.
Now let's quickly look at some more comments that came by, and then okay. So yes, there was this question. It says that some more points on why choose A plus. So someone is asking, Priya is asking, could you throw more light that why should one go for A plus?
All right.
Because your teachers are teaching, and I think there is a continuation. Is that is there any provision for nursery and kindergarten to choose A plus, and is there preschool curriculum? What's your input on the same? Okay, so basically she wants to know if this covers from nursery through kindergarten to preschool, and so if you can, and then the more reason why choose A plus.
Okay. So basically, habits are formed at a very early age where children are concerned. So we do believe that reading habits are very important.
Okay.
Reading habits are dying down and technology is taking over, which is making the child very addicted to the screen.
Okay.
Which can be very harmful for the neural connections, can be very harmful in developing speech or concentration skills in children. So basically they need something at home which is as interesting as the screen.
Okay.
And children love gadgets. But children also are natural learners. They like to imitate, they like to learn. So we have to give them something which is very palatable to them. So the A plus program is designed in such a way that it makes it very interesting for the child. Now how?
Okay.
So all children, any part of the world, all children love stories. All children love songs. All children love rhymes.
Okay.
All children love dancing. All children ask questions. All children like to play games.
Yeah.
Right? All children like activities. So what we have done is, we have packaged the A plus program in such a way that it makes it very palatable for the children. So this program actually makes the child sing, makes the child dance as well. It answers their day-to-day questions. It helps them play games, which are board games as well as games on the CD-ROMs as well.
Okay.
So it covers math as a subject to make it very interesting in the form of songs and games. So learning overall is made a lot of fun for the child. So if we have to just leave the child at the mercy of the school, we really don't know whether the teacher will be right. We can't leave our children's future to chance.
Okay.
We can't choose the teacher for our child. So that's is saying about the school, that the schools are trying to do their best. But practically it is very difficult for a teacher to address the needs of all children.
Okay.
And like I mentioned earlier, the pace of learning of every child is different. So the parents do have a role to play in creating a right environment which is conducive to learning at home.
Right.
Because child who is well prepared and has been given adequate exposure and to whom learning is fun, is likely to better be receptive in school and perform better in school.
Okay. Right. So I'm sure your question is answered. Why choose the A plus program? And so parents should really make it a point to make sure that they have time to train and teach their children, because some of the teachers come to school with their frustrations. Others are underpaid, so they don't really give the best of their services to the child and then the schools in which they teach. So we cannot just say I've paid a huge school fee so my child is well taken care of. And so I think every parent should do well to go for this program. Okay.
Also,
you want to add
schools,
something?
one more thing I would like to ask, add if you don't mind. Schools stick to curriculums, right? The teachers have a curriculum. The teachers have a set agenda to be covered in a period in a classroom.
Right.
But what about the questions that are coming to the child's mind, which could be related to what the teacher has been teaching? So who does he go and ask these questions, right? So these are the things where they need help at home. So if the help is provided at home, if they have the tools based on which we can actually help them learn better, they are very happy learning in the school. So it actually helps the child both ways.
Right, great. So you mentioned earlier, lest I forget, that this device has a 1-year guarantee, and so you can replace it. Now, what about the books? How durable are they? Because your books and children, as part of their curiosity, can just flip some of these pages and throw them away. How durable, or what's the guarantee on the books when one makes an investment into this?
Right. So basically, it's hardcover.
Okay.
It's laminated, so the covers are pretty strong. Okay. The pages also, if you see, are pretty thick, not easy to tear.
Right.
Having said this, it is still a page. It can still be torn.
Okay.
Right? So it's all about basically making the child understand the value of books. And what we have realized is something, if the child is enjoying, he is less likely to destroy it.
Okay.
Right?
That's true.
Yeah. And also for a young child, there's some phase that a child goes through where they just like the sound of the page tearing. So it's got nothing to do with the books.
Okay.
So in such scenarios, it's good for the parent to give a few newspapers to the children to kind of experience that part. So it's taken care of, and I think eventually when they start enjoying it, because this books talk and sing to the child as well. If you want to see it, I can show you how it actually sings to the child as
Okay.
well. So yeah, so children normally don't destroy what they enjoy. The way they don't is destroy the TV because they're watching cartoons on that.
That's true.
So what happens here is basically, like I said, this is a question answer format. So it's talking about, can it rain on a sunny day?
Okay.
So it has got all the rhymes where basically so along with the information is the songs. There is a song on the rainbow colors. There's also a song on the weather.
Okay.
So along with the information, it is a lot to do with making it very child friendly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So all too soon, 45 minutes came like. I mean, like just.
It just flew by, yeah.
And so now, let's talk about some of the challenges, the critical challenges that Learning Time as a company is facing or has faced over the years, and typically in a place like Ghana and elsewhere. We will still come back to viewers your messages, but let's just look at these some of the challenges of the company.
Namely, you said credit payment issues.
Okay.
Is that what you're asking me?
Any of the challenges you want to share with us? Challenges that you face as a business from experience.
In Ghana.
Yes.
We, to be very honest, haven't faced many challenges here, apart from the fact that we're looking out for more and more people.
Okay.
Because one good part about Learning Time is we are never going to go out of business as long as babies are being born. So the day babies stop, mothers stop giving birth to babies is when we will run out of business.
Okay.
So which goes to show that we have a huge market which is ongoing. And we are looking out for more and more salespeople.
Okay.
Because we wanted to reach out to as many parents as possible. Because our mission is to actually help children excel.
Right.
And basically create a better world, have a better educated child, and also help them grow in a very balanced way with emotionally and intellectually both.
Okay.
So we are looking out for more people, and our salespeople are professionally trained, very thoroughly trained as well, and the income is great. So just by selling about 5 A+ in the whole month, which is not too difficult, they earn a good 5,000 plus Ghana cedis,
Wow.
which is phenomenal for them. And it's also it's like a win-win situation, because the parent is benefiting a lot, because the 2, 3, 4 children they have at home, all of the children can benefit by just one program. So it's like a win-win situation. So yes, our challenge is to find more people who believe in education and who are passionate about reaching out to parents.
So did I just hear that by selling 5 A+ in a month you earn more than 5,000?
Yes, you did.
In this country where unemployment is on the rise, I know for a fact that mentioning an amount like 5,000 and above is something that either top management enjoy or politicians are the only people that can get close to such an amount. And so how can one join or get access to these opportunities?
So we do have an opportunity seminar which we conduct periodically.
Okay.
I just finished one today. We are planning to have another one on Wednesday from 6 to 8 in the evening.
Okay.
So so it would be a good, if anybody is interested, they can actually attend the opportunity seminar. So we can give out the number, and they can just call up on that number, and they can register themselves for the seminar.
Okay.
So the seminar actually covers the entire opportunity.
Great. So let me just take a few messages. Now we come to the contact for the opportunity, because time is really running so fast. And so this is coming from Abeku, and the name is quite loaded. So Abeku Kosa is saying that this is exciting. I see these as working more on the child's subconsciousness and making the child more conscious. Ketaki is right. Who better spend the critical years of a child than the parent? There is no second guessing. Right, so now let's come to the opportunities. I deliberately went on these break by taking a message, because I'm sure our viewers are now thinking about whether this is true or not, because already we spoke about get-rich schemes and the fact that it may work for a while and not. So can we now talk about how one can get access to this opportunity? If the seminar is just on Wednesday, how is any of our viewers able to subscribe? Is there any contact you want to announce that they can get onto?
Yeah, we can just give out a phone number, which is of our district manager here.
Okay.
And they can actually call him, and they can register with him on the phone, and they can come and attend the seminar. And they will have a very good idea as to how this whole thing works. And this is also not that get-rich-quick schemes, because we have been around for more than 20 plus years.
Okay.
So yes, this is a very sustained income they can look at.
So viewers, if you're interested in the opportunity that Ketaki just spoke about, the number to contact is 0243 029 567, 0243 029 567, and that happens to be the contact of the district manager. Let me take that number again. It's 0243 029 567, and I'm sure that you would not be far from getting 5,000 plus CDs a month. Just a phone call away is how far you are from that amount of money. So then again, can you educate us? Now we've spoken about the opportunities available to more salespersons if they want to join Learning Time. What of parents who are watching us and will want to get these programs for their children? How would they or can they get in touch with the company to see these opportunities?
So basically the same number that is there, which is of a district manager.
Okay.
So they can contact if they want to know more about the program or how this can actually help their children, if they want a complete presentation being done to them at their homes. They can call up on this number and we can fix up an appointment, and somebody can go and meet them and explain to them how the program works and how it can benefit their children.
Okay, great. Now, so all too soon we are coming to a closure of these fruitful conversation. I must say, I wish that we still have some 1 hour extra to do, but this is all time will permit us. You've rose through the mill as a young adult and a mother, a wife, and then a young person that was as well in need of good income.
Yes.
And then you have experienced this, and it's quite intriguing. Let me ask this question before I go on. What motivated you to stay with one company for 26 years?
All right. I have been asked many times,
Okay.
as to what made me stay on for so long. I think two things basically. One is the belief in education and belief in the fact that a child's life is molded by the parents.
Right.
And young parents need tools. They do understand that they need to spend quality time with the child. They do understand they have to play a role, but they really don't know how to do it. And that's when our learning consultants, when I joined as well, we came in the picture. And we started educating young parents, and I could see the difference this program is having in the lives of children, because we used to have regular feedbacks from customers that how this is benefiting the child. So I think one thing that kept me going is the benefits of the program. Okay, and we could see the lives changing.
Okay.
That was one thing. And the most important thing again was money as well, because as I started growing, the money helped in giving a better education to my own son as well. Right? So I think it works both ways. It's a win-win situation. And to be very honest, when I look back, I would rather not be anywhere else. I can't see myself in any other opportunity, because I'm so passionate about this and I've seen this working wonders in children's lives. So I think I'm very, very blessed to be in learning time.
Very, very blessed to be in learning time, she says. Okay, so on that note, what advice do you have for our viewers, both young and old, and who are seeking for a grant? Because there are still a lot of, adults who are struggling to make it in life. Now, do you have any word of encouragement and motivation? Already you've announced the opportunities out to them to grasp it and make good use of it. But any word of encouragement to our viewers?
Well, I think that life is full of challenges, and we all face our struggles one way or the other. I think nobody escapes difficulties and tough times in life.
Okay.
It's all about finding your niche. It's all about staying focused. I think most importantly, faith in God, which should be quite unshakable. And opportunities like this, when they come in our way, you have two ways of looking at it.
Okay.
One way is that, she says that, but it may not work. So it's the way you look at it. And there may be somebody else who may saying, well, this looks to be like a blessing in disguise. So why not I go and try? So opportunities are given to everybody. It's what do we do of those opportunities is what I think changes lives. So, yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Viewers, this is how far we could come with this conversation. We wish that there could be a reload of this. Ketaki, when are you coming back on this show?
Very soon, I hope.
Okay, so let me quickly check the number again. And like she said, on Wednesday there is an opportunity for you to join this program. There is an opportunity for you to join this learning time. And so on Wednesday, 6 to 8 p.m. The location again is Adabraka, in the same compound with Sahid Jewelry near Niagara Hotel. And so once you call this number again, you will be sorted out. So it's 0243-029-567, 0243-029-567, and you will be sorted out. I want to encourage you that don't really let these opportunities pass you by. Okay, so believe in education. Young parents need tools to help children, which kept me going to see life changing for kids. And so money at right spirit, win-win situation, and if somebody is just capturing all your say this could be a very good repertoire. And so all right, so I want to say a big thanks for honoring our invitation to be on the Untold, and we would love to have you back here again.
Thank you so much.
So I want to say a very big thanks to our viewers and everyone that makes this show a possibility. I want to say a big one to Semas, and then also to Ms. Lawe, the general manager of Ashaiman TV, to my team, Seth, both technician and on camera, and to my producer Hilary Tamaklo, and then also to my family and friends out there. Today I'm out of time, I can't mention names. Have a great one and enjoy the rest of the weekend. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
As the Akan adage goes, Obinim Obrimpong Ashasi. Indeed, no one knows the beginning of a hero or a heroine, but are only celebrated at their peak. However, every great person or business has some story of a sort about the dark days of their lives, the lonely moments, the hunger and thirst, with no one to turn to or lean on. Yet, these stories are not just told to anyone, but at the right place and time. On this show, The Untold, we will be unveiling some of these stories of very well celebrated and upcoming individuals and businesses with emphasis on entrepreneurship. Join me this and every Saturday on Ashaiman TV as I bring you The Untold. My name is Nathaniel Ola.